Hello and welcome to another episode on Maritime Radar. Over the years, man's bid to cultivate and harness the natural resources for survival and development has been threatening the ocean's ability to offer its services to man. Today, waters are exposed to all sorts of threats from human exploitation and environmental pollution. As resource managers and homekeepers, African women have been actively involved in tree planting, combating wisdom, and the management of communal water resources as they have more intense contact with the environment and suffer more from environmental degradation. This has and should continue to deepen their understanding and commitment to ecological preservation. How the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy can drive policies bordering on cabotage vessel financing fund CVFF, increase indigenous participation in the shipping business are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. About 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, which gives support to life. The ocean, the seas, and rivers are of invaluable resources. Amongst these numerous benefits, most of the world's trade is carried out on the oceans and seas of the world. For sustainable shipping, it becomes imperative that we must be passionate about keeping our waters not only safe for navigation, but to also ensure it's free from pollution. The health of our waters impact on marine life and ultimately the world's ecosystem as we depend on the oceans and seas of the world for food and our well-being. Growing scientific evidence shows that the health of the oceans is at great risk and that marine ecosystems are already subject to extreme stress from pollution and over-exploitation. The demand for ocean resources is expected to continue to grow, with the expectations for oceans as key drivers of human development and a source of food, materials, and space. But before we get further into today's lineup on the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
The who's who of Nigeria's maritime industry came together for the Omi's Maritime and Offshore Awards in Lagos, Nigeria. This annual event recognizes and celebrates excellence in the maritime industry. This year had a pivotal inclusion, which was the Technical Summit organized in commemoration of the International Maritime Organization World Maritime Day. This year's event brought together prominent maritime experts, industry leaders, regulators, and other stakeholders who collaboratively addressed the pressing challenges confronting Nigeria's maritime industry while formulating innovative solutions under the theme Safety and Security in Maritime. The special guest of honor, Senator Wasiu Eshinlokun Sani, applauded this initiative and its potential impact on the new Marine and Blue Economy Ministry.
The Marine and Blue Economy is dealing with the water transportation, and specifically to be able to harness the potential therein, to be able to make Nigeria one of the best international players in the maritime industry. With this, the government of the day had positioned the maritime and the marine economy with a view to getting the maximum benefit and then to push the industry forward.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, won the Omi's Guardian Angel Award for exceeding expectations to improve the maritime sector through policy formulations or advancing quality representation in the sector.
The Omi's Award as it stands is a Maritime and Offshore Award for the maritime industry. You do know that this is quite an important thing for people to recognize those who are actively contributing to the maritime sector. It's something that we should all commend. And this organization has been consistent in getting this done. And if you look at what has happened in the past and the recipients of the award, you can clearly say that these are people who have contributed to the maritime subsector.
The national coordinator of the Port Standing Task Team, Moses Olayemi Fadipe, and the former port manager of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Bola Olutu, both received OMI's Industry Merit Awards in recognition of their various contributions to the maritime sector.
For this OMI's award, which they tag Industry Award in the Maritime. Now look at Maritime, that's my space. And look at the people we are seeing this all today. Who is so in the Maritime? And beyond, what joy could I have? Seeing my bosses, when I say my bosses, seeing the senators in the marine sector, seeing the Ministry of Transportation in the marine sector, seeing my parent secretary in the marine sector, see my CEO representative in the marine sector, see a whole lot of people, and even see your brand and other outfits in this place. My joy knows no bounds, honestly.
The technical summit facilitated the productive discussions and innovative problem-solving strategies focused on the maritime industry's crucial role in Nigeria's economy, acknowledging its complex challenges, including maritime security, technological advancements, sustainability, regulatory compliance. The summit also provided an opportunity for networking as attendees established new partnerships and collaborations, fostering a stronger maritime community in Nigeria. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria has decried the refusal of international oil companies to obey Marine Notice 106 of 2014 and extant stevedoring regulations, describing the situation as a major threat. The union, in a letter to the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adewunmi, signed by its President General Adewale Adeyanju, noted that since the Marine Notice was issued in 2014, most of the IOCs have continued to refuse the stevedorers access to their platforms, thereby shutting out the dock workers from the opportunity to work and earn a living. He lamented the illegal disengagement of onboard ship gangway security and tally men, dredging of Onitsha, Calabar, Warri and Port Harcourt ports, and the completion of the issuance of biometric identity cards to dock workers and seafarers' identity documents to seafarers, as well as the refusal of IOCs to pay monthly pensions to aged seafarers. Appealed to the minister to intervene in the situation and also expedite on several outstanding matters.
If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. Reversing the ocean's further degradation and preserving their health is paramount due to the many irreplaceable benefits that they provide. As a result, there is an ongoing battle for their conservation and sustainable use. In this chat with Otunba Sola Adewunmi, President, Nigeria Shipowners Association, the importance of CVFA disbursement flying Nigeria's flag as a key driver to indigenous participation in the shipping business. This and many more. Stay with us. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
A lot of stakeholders have yearned for a separate ministry for the maritime industry. Thankfully, we have one here, the marine and the blue economy. How does that come to you? And what are the prospects and potentials of the new ministry?
To those of us in the shipping sector, it was a very good welcome idea, because when you really look at it, 80% of goods being moved around the world is being done by shipping. And for us to have a separate ministry to be in charge of shipping is a good development. It's a way of developing the industry in Nigeria. And by the way, when you talk of blue and marine economy, it's just the way of using the ocean resources to benefit the economy and to develop the economy and of the country. And with our vast coastal areas, I think Nigeria deserves one.
So what is the prospect or the potential that you see in this marine and blue economy?
It's a way of diversifying the economy, number one, because our economy depended mostly on oil. And you can now see that people are going to renewable energy. What if oil is no more fashionable tomorrow, then what happens to Nigeria as a country? It's a way of diversifying the economy, because we have a lot of activity going on that we can get from the ocean economy. And aside from diversifying, it can create a lot of good jobs for the people that are looking for jobs. It will increase our gross domestic product, and at the same time, other benefits are there. So having a ministry for blue economy, I think is worth it, if only the government can utilize the capacity.
Okay, being able to harness this, the potentials in the marine and blue economy, what task do you think is ahead of the new minister?
The way I see it, they are supposed to liaise with the operators, the practitioners, not ordinary paper practitioners. They are supposed to collaborate with the practitioners, let them know where they are actually needed, let them know the kind of legislation they can put in place that will actually assist the growth of the ministry. And you can see it's a new ministry that is just starting. They have to be a framework and all. It's not a ministry where anybody has done anything before. But their collaboration with the real stakeholders will definitely land them very well.
Looking at the industry and its subsectors, you are the president of the Nigerian Shipowners Association. How do you think the new minister should drive the shipping industry to ensure that the lost glory is being restored?
In the first instance,
just key things that he should do.
He should collaborate with we operators.
Okay.
He should listen to us and let him know where the shoe pinches. It is only when he knows those things that he can actually react. We are not saying that he should take everything at once. If there are 2 or 3 things he wanted to pick out of our agenda, he can quickly pick that one.
So what are those agendas, and what do you specifically?
We want to increase the number of vessels that are in Nigeria, for instance, because when you really look at it, it's
do you agree with that we should fly the Nigerian flag, get our own vessels?
If only they can do it with private people. I would not like a situation whereby government will be the sole funder. Because if we do it like that, in most businesses being done by government, you end up liquidating it. So I will prefer a public
looking at the shipping sector, what are the key things that you want the minister to look into, and do you have a time frame to them?
Okay, we should be looking at how to increase the Nigeria fleet.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, if the government is doing CVFF, they should quickly do something on this for Nigerians to have a vessel, so that we'll be able to do some of the jobs that are being done by foreigners, because it's foreigners that dominated our waters, either directly or indirectly. There are some jobs that Nigerians cannot do because they don't have the kind of vessels that we do those jobs. Situation whereby maybe LNG, for instance, is asking you to come and supply them bunkers with a vessel that is less than 10 years old. How many Nigeria has less than 10 years old vessel? Those are the areas where we believe that Nigeria can come in. There are so much opportunities in the system that government can exploit, because it's a case whereby if they work on some, it will lead to another one. It will lead to employment, and it will lead to a lot of job creation. Like take an average ship, for instance. It depends. Maybe you have about 20, 30 people working on board maybe a medium-sized vessel. You can imagine the kind of family that one will feed. You can imagine the kind of auxiliary job people will be doing for them outside. You can imagine the kind of job that people will be doing ashore for them as well.
You are the president of NISA. How have you been able to align your vision to this new ministry?
The ministry, like I said, the ministry.
Or what vision do you have for your association that should align with this new ministry?
You know, my vision is to empower Nigerian maritime industry for global leadership. And if we have something like that, there is no way we can cut ourselves off from the government, because it is our relationship with the government that will lead to realization of that vision.
One of the key drivers that should drive the shipping industry is indigenous participation.
Yes.
So what advice do you have for the minister on this?
If you look at the recent happenings, you realize that Nigerian shipowners are decreasing in number on a regular basis. And one of the reasons for this is the high cost of acquiring vessels and the high cost of interest rates. There is nobody that can get a loan from any Nigerian bank to buy a vessel that will be able to compete globally. We cannot compete with people that are getting their loans on single digits. And I believe that's one of the essence of NISA setting up the cabotage vessel financing fund. If government can ensure that this thing is well distributed to the real practitioners, not paper practitioners, real practitioners.
Okay, the approval of the approval for disbursement, there has been approval for disbursement. So how far has it gone? I mean, because I know you people interface with NISA. How far has it gone? When do we expect disbursement? What expectations do you have from this minister, or what advice do you have for him?
Okay, we were made
regards to ship owners.
We were made to understand in the last regime that approval has been given. Yes. That they were working on the modalities for releasing the ship acquisition.
But that's taking too long.
Yeah. I think that question better be directed to the NISA DG. He called us for a collaboration, and we told him our position on this thing, that we want a single-digit loan. And the way the thing is structured is good, because NISA is going to give 50%. Bank is going to give 35, and the prospective ship owner will do 15. That means banks will be in a position to actually follow up with those loans. Then the issue of running the company aground or going to liquidation will not even come. But the government should do something as fast as possible to make sure this money is disbursed. Because the process of acquiring a ship is not like a car. It takes years to even do a new building. But even if you want to buy a fairly used one, you have to search for a very good one that can still meet the economic situation that in Nigeria, that can meet the kind of requirement of jobs in Nigeria here.
We'll be taking your closing thoughts and then also looking at the hurdles before the new minister. But that will be after this short break. Please stay with us.
News Central TV, Africa's #1 storyteller, has come with the best of both worlds. With a combination of news app and live TV, we ensure that you keep track of the latest headlines, breaking news, and in-depth analysis from professional journalists from around the continent. Download the News Central TV app on Android and iOS and get started today. Don't forget to follow us on News Central's social media platforms. News Central, Africa first.
If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radio, and I still have with me Otunba, Sola, Adewunmi. Before we went on that break, you were talking about the expectations of stakeholders from the new ministry and the hurdles before the new minister. Can you run us through what the expectations are? Because you have yearned for this new ministry and now it's here. So what are the expectations and what are the hurdles before the new minister? And what advice do you have to be able to surmount these hurdles?
One of the things, one of the hurdles I believe that the new minister will have is finance. Because, maritime involves a lot of capital outlay. And now that the economy is not doing too fine, where will this money come from? Then when you are looking at sustainability and conservation, how do we manage the two? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. Then how do we manage the problem of the riverine people? Because you will agree with me that they've always been a source of some problems as far as investment in that area is concerned. So it's one of the reasons why investors are running away from Nigeria, because people can just come up overnight and say this is what they want, they hold you to ransom. Well, I believe these are part of the things that I believe is going to be the serious hurdles that we have. But I believe he can navigate himself out of this hurdle by engaging the practitioners, then looking into how the government could really come with some legislation and some framework to assist the industry. You know, it's not something that we can achieve in a day, but it's a gradual process. It will be getting better.
So, what else should we expect for the shipping industry?
We are looking at the minister that will be ready to collaborate with the operators, with the stakeholders.
So specifically, what you've mentioned collaboration over time. So what is the role of collaboration to be able to address these challenges that will be before him?
Well, I think it's what we have discussed before. It is that one that is even the most essential, in the sense that you don't just sit down in the office and start formulating policies that cannot work. There are so many policies in this country that have been formulated.
Stakeholders must be carried along. So do we have enough policies on ground, or are we going to make new ones, or just to implement what we have?
We have more than enough policies. We can fine-tune some of them, and if there is a need for us to add to what we have, then we can do that.
So what is the how can we ensure optimal exploration and exploitation of the blue economy?
Everything still depends on government framework, the ministry framework, and now it can collaborate with the operators.
So what will be your advice?
My advice is that before he comes up with any policy, he should try and talk to the stakeholders. Let them know the feeling. Let them know how the new laws or whatever is going to affect them. Take for instance now the issue of custom. Custom expected ship owners to pay duty. They said that's what the law says. These are things that could be looked into by the House of Assembly if we make a representation, because the aircraft owners are not paying duty. But people still look for a way to circumvent it. And that's one of the reasons why shipping is not developing in Nigeria. Because the duty that is payable on some of these, on the acquired ships, they are just too enormous.
So how have your association, how have you positioned to strategically tap into this new ministry? Tell us more of what your association is doing.
We are meeting presently to have a maritime agenda, which we are going to present to the minister from the Shipowners Association. And once that one is done, we look at what the government have in stock for us.
So what are these agendas?
Oh, let me keep that one till another time. Okay. We have a maritime agenda which we are going to present to the minister. The minister should have a look at it with his team, and if there is a need for them to modify some of these things to benefit the nation, then we'll be willing to cooperate and do that.
On your final words before I let you go, in your own words, what do you think should be done to ensure that the shipping industry is put on a greater path?
They should let us have access to low interest loan, because that's the major problem we have in Nigeria. You see, we are competing with people that are borrowing money at probably 3-5%. Our banks are giving money at close to 30%. How do you compete with those people? And that's one of the reasons why people are not getting anything out of that industry. The training is no more there. In those days when we have an NSA, we have training vessels. People go to school, they do training on board a ship. When last did Nigeria have that? These are things that can actually improve our economy. A lot of us in this country, we believe in hiring foreign foreign sailors, because most especially the middle level officers, they are not well trained. They are not well trained. Even when they graduate from school, they can't get any vessel to do their what do we call it, practicals. And aside from that, there is no docking facility in Nigeria. Let me just put it like that. Most of the ship owners you see in Nigeria, they take their vessels out for docking. And even the dockyard that is in Nigeria, that's Nigeria dockyard, or what do they call them, is just too expensive. It's too expensive compared to what they are doing inside or outside. A lot of major ship owners are taking their vessels out of Nigeria to dry dock. These are areas where they can provide employment for people. You know, you can imagine the number of people that are going to work in the dockyard, going from weather, engineers, stuff like that, technicians. If government can revive that, then I believe we'll be able, we can find ourselves at least, if not, they are very close to the place.
I must thank you most kindly for your thoughts on the show. It's been Otunba Sola Adewunmi. He is the president of Nigerian Shipowners Association, sharing his thoughts of what his expectations is, or what the expectation of his association is for the new minister. Thank you most kindly for that.
Thank you so much.
And that's our show this week. I hope you learned a lot about the shipping business. Join us every week on Maritime Radar as we explore potentials that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global and local maritime news, plus industry insights right here. I'm Nneoma Obi-Asualo. Many thanks for your time. See you again next week.